Hey guys, Thunderstud here, and today we're revisiting an old archetype in Inzektorz, but this time we've mixed them with Predaplants. Now I didn't go too crazy. All we've done is added 3 Chlamy and some extra deck for our boys who usually aren't using extra deck. But Inzektorz as an archetype have a lot of problems in and of themselves. Predaplant helps one of the problems, but it doesn't solve all their problems. They have a lot of problems. That's why you don't see them running around the ladder. That's why you don't see them doing much, even though they have a decent amount of support. So they are really quick at building big monsters. They have dynamic ways to attack your enemy, but they're not really swift in OTKs, and they can't really rebuild after your field's been broken, and on top of that, their fields are usually pretty vulnerable. So the only thing Predaplant Chlamy here is addressing is easy comebacks, guys. So usually you're able to break your opponent's field with a Hornet play or a Zekta search with a Hopper. You get a 3600 monster you destroy on the field, but then you just have a normal monster sitting there and you really don't have any protection. So how an Inzektor duel would usually go is you break their field after they say they'd go turn 1, they build up a field, your turn 2, Cosmic Cyclone, Centipede, get your Zekta, hit them hard, you've broken their field, but now they get to come at your vulnerable field, they break it, you have 1 to 2 cards in your hand, now you're struggling to come back when your opponent has already built their field again. So, after your initial plays, this deck doesn't really have any follow-up. So, top deck a Chlamy, have another monster in your hand, you have an immediate follow-up, you have another win con. That really helps you out after you've almost crippled your enemy. It's very common with Inzektorz. They just don't have that finishing power or that depth to go for longer duels, and Chlamy will really help that. Now, it hasn't pushed them to meta. You're not going to start seeing them on the ladder, anything like that, but it does give them a boost up. It is an objectively better way to mix them in, so Inzektorz can see a little more play, because they're pretty fun, they're very unique, but it just still a ways to go for Inzektorz. They need some sort of inherent defense. I don't know if they have Link or XYZ monsters or what have you, but they have a ways to go. Here, I just like playing around with them, and I'm looking for ways where Chlamy can really help dark monster decks, and this is one of them. So on top of that, we're using Grit. I don't really like to use Grit with Cosmic Cyclone because Cosmic Cyclone breaks your Grit, but it's fine enough. You usually save your Cosmic Cyclones till you're ready to break your opponent's field anyway, so you kind of let them overextend into your Grit, and then you use everything to finish them. We're using Ultimate Providence because we usually have a lot of monsters, and you can even search a spell, and if you did use your Grit to its full extent and you can't use these Cosmic Cyclones, you can use them with Ultimate Providence, so it works out pretty well. Chlamy does add more depth to Inzektorz, but they're still just not fast enough with the way some decks are able to swarm and able to protect themselves. Inzektorz still have a long ways to go, but it's still fun. It's still a fun little archetype, and I hope you guys enjoy, so thanks for watching. Alright, here's a Crowler. We're going first. He's full Crowler themed, starting with Grit. Okay, so we have a handful of Inzektorz, but we also have a Chlamy follow-up, so we're really just going to fall back on this Ultimate Providence and let our boy try to come at us. He's using an Ancient Gear Wyvern. We're going to stop that outright with our Ultimate Providence, throwing away a Hornet. Now remember, our Hopper can equip Hornet from the graveyard, so Hornet being thrown away is really no big deal at all, and we're going to do exactly that with our Hopper. Bring out that Hornet. It does bump us up to 2200, but we're going to use Hornet to destroy that Ancient Gear Castle. And now we don't have to be 2200 because we'll still be over any Ancient Gear Wyvern. Here's the Wyvern that we expected. Now he searched a Gear Tank. Very weird equip. So this boy has some weird equip-based Ancient Gear deck, but he does fully commit and tries to make the most of it. So here we get another Centipede play, guys. We get to hold off the Chlamy. We get to use the Hopper from the graveyard. That way we don't have to use the Hopper in our hand, and he can be saved for Chlamy follow-ups. Now we use our Centipede though. Hopper from the grave to us, and send it back to the grave. That's a search of a Zekta, but like I said, our boy's fully committed to this equip play. So he destroys his equip with Double Cyclone, destroying our Zekta, and an extra 600 damage because that's the effect of this equip. So now he sets to another equip card, bringing his boy up to 3200, destroying our poor centipede. So you know what time it is, guys. Time to pull out our secret weapon. After we Cosmic Cyclone the latest card he set, so that's where his equip was. That card's been useless this whole duel, so we had to Cosmic Cyclone that middle. Here comes the Chlamy with the hopper we kept in our hand. Chimera Felicia, still not bigger than him, but we're going to banish him. And of course, with his effect, we could have swung over him regardless. And we win the duel. Great stuff, guys. Alright, here's an Alexis Rhodes. We're going second. Let's see what our girls got for us. 20 cards. Gotta show them the grit. We're using Luna Grit. I'm going to be using Luna Grit for a few of these decks. Grit just goes well with Predaplants. Take a Grit, then follow up with Chimera Felicia after your opponent's overextended. Usually results in an OTK. So here we're fighting a Neos. He's starting with the Keeper of Dragon Magic. That's an easy way to a Neos Fusion and a Bacon Saver. So a pretty optimal start for our boy here. We do top deck into a Chlamy. We're going to use that first. Throw away our Centipede. We did have other Centipede plays, but obviously Chimera Felicia is much better in this situation. We're going to banish that Neos. Swing into the Dragon Keeper, and we've crippled our boy now. Even if he manages to break our Chimera Felicia, he's not gonna OTK us thanks to Grit, and then we can follow up with a Centipede Hopper combo, which is a direct 2600 damage. He does have Bacon Saver, but we would have been in a good position to threaten him again, and great stuff, guys. Alright, here's a Mako. We're going second. See what our boys got for us. Using 22 cards over there with Mystic Depths, most likely Cristrons or some serious Sea Stealth attacks with the memes. He sets just one. We have a double hopper, Ultimate Providence. So we're going to set one Ultimate Providence, bring out our hopper. We don't need the other hopper to direct attack, so we just go with the Zektohawk and swing into our boy. Here in the end phase he uses Abyss Sphere, so it is actually Mermails. Bringing out his Abyss Pike. Throwing away some Fishborg. Searching an Atlantean. Use this salvage, grab that Fishborg and that Abyss Linda right back. Let's see what else they got. Normal summons the Tuner, Fishborg, goes into a Gungnir. Uses his effect, that triggers our Ultimate Providence. But what he threw away to use his effect was a Heavy Infantry, which is going to let him destroy a face-up monster, so he does in fact break our field. We're left with just a Ultimate Providence. But what did I say about the comebacks, guys? Chlamy is your first step to a comeback. We're going to have to use him right here to get rid of the Abyssus and stop his comebacks, but it's worth the play. We top deck into a Zektohawk. He gets to break our Grit. He couldn't have finished us. We have Grit, so we were pretty safe. Not foolproof, but pretty safe. And now we get to summon our Hopper. Hopper can equip Hopper from the graveyard. Then we toss the Zektohawk on. We're able to attack directly over the monster and win the duel. Great stuff, guys. Alright, here's Dark Signer Colin. We're going second. He's using a Millennium Puzzle. Just leave him out there with Little Yugi. One of the animated ones. It's actually only using Power Dark, so it shouldn't be too crazy. We have a handful of Inzektorz. He's going Malefic, so he banishes his Stardust, summons his Malefic Dragon. Now we top deck a Chlamy, but we want to go with the Inzektorz Centipede play first. We're going with the Hopper. Going to peck him for some immediate damage, because I'm not really immediately afraid of Malefics. I think a 2600 monster is a feat enough, especially with Grit, to be just fine for a Chlamy follow-up. So he's actually part Gravekeepers. Uses Descendant to destroy our Cosmic Cyclone. Summons a Wielder for a Fairy Dragon. Won't activate Wielder's effect, but has the 3k booty on the field now. Now we go into a Hopper from our Centipede. Once again, that's another Zektohawk. Now Zektohawk not only gives you 1000 damage, but when you're attacking directly, it'll negate the spells like an Ancient Gear monster. But guys, Chlamy follow-up. You just normal summon your Chlamy, get rid of a Hornet, banish that Fairy Dragon. Now it's just one little Malefic monster. We buff our boy up to 3600 and hit him for lethal anyway. Total control of the duel. Great stuff, guys. Alright, brand new Seto Kaiba. Going second. The new Seto Kaiba is the one with all the good skills. You see the old Seto Kaiba, it's usually Black Wings. This is the one who runs the Blue Eyes. So we have a Chlamy, we have a Hornet, Cosmic Cyclone, and Inzektorz. Now this is no problem for Chlamy. We're just going to Cosmic Cyclone that back row. It was in fact our Geki break, so we did need that. Here comes Chlamy, get rid of that Hornet, because you can grab Hornet from the graveyard with the Inzektor effects. They can equip an Inzektor monster from the graveyard to them. Then you would send the Hornet from the field. Here obviously all we do is banish the Cosmo Brain, swing to our enemy, and he can't follow up with just one card in his hand. So that's what it is, guys, just decisive crippling blows. You don't really OTK your opponent, but you overextend, fall back on your grit, and then finish him off with Chlamy is usually how you want to do it. It's overextending, letting your opponent overextend, leaving vulnerable monsters and vulnerable fields to sneak wins. That's the name of the game. Inzektorz really have to bottom feed like that, as if you want to look at it like that pretty much. But that's what it is, because there's just so many more dynamic OTK decks that can do what Inzektorz do, but finish you off at the same time. So Inzektorz still have a way to go. They need something to throw them over the top for either OTKs or really sticky, really good boss monster. So I don't know how you could make them OTK more. So maybe a new boss monster. What kind of boss monster do they have, guys? Is it Link, XYZ, Pendulum? I have no idea. So let me know, and thanks for watching.